Hello, and thank you for being with me again on yet another wonderful winter's day. You may have noticed that on the title for this talk, I put the word bad between inverted commas about why bad things happen to good people. What we need to realize is that this term bad that we apply to certain things in our life is very subjective. Very much depends on our point of view, how we see things and so on. And especially as being a clergyman, you'll sometimes have people come to you and they're so angry with God for something that happened to someone they believe to be a good person that they want nothing more to do with God. And what we don't realize when we become angry like that is that, in fact, we're allowing our judgment to take first place over the judgment of God, the judgment of what's good and bad, that is. You see, in our limited understanding, we can be completely mistaken. I'm sure many of you listening who have children will have had the experience, for example, of children being really angry with you because you make them go to school when they don't want to go to school. And they can tell you they hate you, and they can really perform sometimes. But you see, that's only because of their lack of understanding of the importance of school for them, why they need to go through that experience, and why they need that for a fulfilled life afterwards. And this happens to us also in the case of dealing with God. We can think of some very strange things that we do actually, of things that we consider bad. For example, death itself, which when we hear someone has died, we're usually shocked. And we think it's a terrible thing has happened, and we're very moved by it and sorry for those involved, which is only right that we are sorry for them because they feel the loss of this person who is very dear to them. But of course, coming into this world, there are two things that we do know. One is that we're going to die, and the other is that we don't know when we're going to die. And so when we do die, it shouldn't really be such a shock to everyone, and yet that's how we see it in this world. And this is why I say sometimes our view of things is a little off. However, when it comes to saying, why do bad things happen to good people? I say we sometimes have people really angry about the situation. But you see, if only good things happen to good people, the first result of that would be that our churches would be absolutely inundated with people. We wouldn't be able to deal with all the people who would want to suddenly be religious and holy. The problem comes in, why would they be looking for that? You see, if we're looking to be righteous and holy and so on, because it would mean that nothing bad can happen to us, well, then we've missed the point of Christianity. Christianity is about doing what's right, whether I can understand fully why it would be right or not. Living in a Christian way is about living so that I don't only consider what's good for me, but I also look at whether that thing that's good for me is good for people around me. You see, I could, for example, become extremely wealthy, but if it's at the cost of other people around me and they live a very poor life as a result, that's good for me, but it's not good for anybody else. And this is where, as I say, if people are pursuing this way of life because they're assured of only good things, what they consider to be good things in their life, well, then it's a problem. For example, they wouldn't need any insurance policies because nothing bad can happen to them. And that would be the motivation of the vast majority of people. It would put us pretty much back where we are, where one of the difficulties of our world, one of the major difficulties of our world, is this looking out for what's best for me and not considering the good of those around me enough. And so this is why, as I say, what we consider to be bad things happen to good people. for one, it means that when we are living a spiritual life, we're actually doing it in the right way because we are considering other people as well. We're not just looking at ourselves. And secondly, it means that we are open to accepting that perhaps what I perceive at this time in my life to be a bad thing may not be such a bad thing. You know, we hear of people who have been through terrible accidents, for example, or something dreadful has happened to them, and we feel, goodness, that's something I really wouldn't want to go through. And quite often when they talk about it, they'll say that it was the best thing that happened to them in their lives. We can see this, as I say, in the multiple accounts online of near-death experiences and so on, that it changed their lives for the better, that event that we would consider to be bad. And so we have to leave room for these things to happen in our life as well, knowing that God does know good from bad. We're not always that great at knowing the difference for ourselves. And so we put ourselves in His hands so that He'll lead us into the good things, because actually bad things don't happen to good people. It's just part of their life, part of their learning process, and it means that from that, whatever is meant to come about is for their good and for the good of those around them. And I hope that this will help you in difficult periods of your life to deal with these difficulties on a different basis. There was a lovely thing I heard the other day where it was said that if you pray about a circumstance you're not happy with, God may not change your circumstances, but if He doesn't, He will change you so that you can deal with them. And another lovely quote that comes from a rather unexpected source that I got from Paul McCartney and John Lennon, and for those who are too young to know, they were two of the Beatles, and they said that in their families they had a saying that it will all be all right in the end, and if it's not all right, then it's not the end. And if we can bear those things in mind, how that can help us through difficulties of life. And so I pray that this year that we're entering, this new year of 2026, may be full of growth for you, that you may truly experience the joy of growing spiritually throughout this year. And may God bless you. Thank you.